Hi, and welcome to Screens in Focus podcast, where we share and connect as we spotlight our favorite shows and movies. I'm Diana, and today we're talking about The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 22, and our recommendations on Black Adam, Where the Crawdads Sing, American Horror Story, and more. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Avery. How are you guys?
Oh, good.
Hi, I'm good.
Great. All right. I'm really excited about this episode because we only have a couple of more. And I was thinking about how villainous Pamela Milton is and how manipulative she is through that whole courtroom scene. And so it got me to thinking about our question of the day. So our question of the day is, who has been your favorite villain on The Walking Dead? Avery, what do you think?
So I have a double favorite here because he's also my favorite character. I love Negan. I've been with Negan since day one, through the show, through the books. I remember the first time I saw him on the show when he popped out of the camper. I open mouth gasped because I couldn't believe it. And I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan, his portrayal of Negan, he looks exactly like he looks in the books, which I already had kind of knowledge of that. Mm-hmm. So it was just, I love it. Love him. Still my favorite. Still my favorite. When I saw him, when I watched the episode, I was like, I can't believe this. He's still kicking.
I love it. I love it.
Big time Negan fan.
What about you, Margaret? Who's your favorite villain?
Mercer.
Mercer?
Well, yeah, because he's being such a jerk. I mean, right now it's Mercer because you don't know. I gotta do what I gotta do. He's not deviating from his rules, his book of instructions. So he's been kind of a jerk. I'm not that enamored with him, although Princess is. But he even slighted her. So it's like he is a villain, because he wants to maintain his position.
Yeah.
At the cost of everybody else. So if that isn't somebody who is just thinking about themselves, to me, that's what a villain is. So what about you? Who's yours?
I'm conflicted because, I feel the same way that Avery does about Negan, but I am going to say the governor because his death was one of the most exciting deaths. It was actually one of my favorite episodes because I just love that whole episode. I think it was Too Far Gone was the episode he was in where all of that happened at the prison. So I don't want to jump ahead because there's our question toward the end of this episode that I'm going to bring up. But for now, I'm going to say the governor is one of my favorite villains in The Walking Dead.
Oh.
Yeah.
I would say he was the scariest. Negan was pretty scary, but the governor, how he just never seemed to give up was terrifying. He finds another group, takes it over, and then he shows right back up. Couldn't get rid of him. Cockroach.
Well, exactly, because remember when he had that long hair and he was just kind of walking around almost like a walker himself, and that's when he met Tara and her sister and the daughter, and then
he manipulated them.
Yeah, and he built himself back up again. So I just thought it was great.
Yeah.
So
he for a long time, I was kind of I didn't like him because I just thought he was just, he's so annoying. Kill him already.
Yes, yes.
But you love to hate him,
Yes, that's exactly how I feel. You're right.
Yes.
Okay, friends out there, let us know what you think. Who has been your favorite villain? You can leave us a comment on social media, our website, or email at screensinfocus@gmail.com. We would love to know who you pick as your favorite villain. The links are in the show notes. Okay, so let's get to episode 22 entitled Faith. Eugene's trial plays out as Yumiko tries to get through to Mercer. Aaron and company meet up with Luke and Jules, who update them on Oceanside. Our group at the prison camp find themselves in a predicament with Negan ready to take the fall right when Ezekiel steps up and the rest of the group, Daryl and company, emerge. So, Margaret, tell me, what did you think of this episode?
I really liked the episode because it just, again, it went by so fast and I kept wanting more and more and more and more. And I was sad that it was over when it was over. So they started to approach certain things and you had a little glimmer of hope that maybe Yumiko would be able to shift the current away from Eugene. And just, we found all the other people, and that kind of happened a little too fast, where all the other people just appeared, everybody just kind of met, and you're like, how big is this area anyway? So I'm a little, I don't know, conflicted about how all of that happened so fast.
You mean where they were working in the forest?
No, not where they were working, but suddenly they come up, Daryl and Carol, they just come upon them. They're following the tracks, but these people are on a train. So, the logistics to me seem a little off, that they could just come upon them and then, race to the finale or create the end of it. But what I thought was interesting was that it definitely did show, like what I was talking about last week, the troopers doing their just kind of falling out because of all of this other stuff that was happening, and they didn't agree with any of this stuff, and they're being told to do this stuff. It's kind of being, having been manipulated into the position because they're threatening their families, and then they're making them do things that they really don't think they should be doing because it isn't right, except for that one guy, the redheaded guy. So I guess he's the who got killed, which was great. But I just really thought it was a good flow, good shots. Again, the editing, the music, the whole, just everything. Again, just they're paying so much attention to all these little details, and it's just kind of woven together so well that, you don't want it to end. So, yeah. That's all.
What did you think, Avery?
It's funny because I took a lot of time off from watching The Walking Dead, and now I've been rewatching everything, trying to get up to speed, before it's over. And it's almost like with this season, they've sort of brought it back to kind of the roots in a sense. I get a lot of Terminus. You remember Terminus?
Yeah.
Right after the prison. I get a lot of memories or vibes of that. I did because I hated the warden with the red hair. So I was happy to see the trooper Walker bite his eye out. I thought that was pretty brutal and classic. And I also love the group with Aaron and Jerry, how they have to gut up and they're kind of traveling as we've seen in every single season since season 1, how they're covered in guts and they can just blend in with the walkers, kind of like how we see with the Whisperers too. I love that. It's a classic. When I came into this episode, I was happy to see it because I've seen it every other time and it works. It's I don't know, it shows that the survivors have adapted enough where this is tried and true, so it will work if they do it. They know it's a last resort.
Yeah, you're right. And I love it because I feel that it brings all that intensity, because it is scary to think about walking amongst these walkers. I always think about it and try to put myself in that position. And I always think, I don't know if I could do it. I don't know. Yeah. I feel like I'd be the little kid in Alexandria that freaked out.
Yes. Yes,
and got
absolutely.
Eaten. I'm like, oh my God. There's just an intensity about it. And that's what I found throughout this whole episode. And, you have them walking with those walkers, and here are the troopers looking for them, which is an added element, and they're shining the lights on them. Now, the one thing that I found interesting was, why didn't they put the guts on their face? Because their clean faces would kind of stand out. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So I would think you'd be able to pick them out that way, but still they were able to get by on that. What were you going to say, Margaret?
What about the knife that hit the ground and the walker that kicked it up?
Is that a whisperer or what's up with that? Yeah.
No, they're starting
it's a variant.
Become more human. Right.
Right.
They have different abilities. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I just remembered that. Yeah. So it was very human-like.
Yeah.
When we saw it, Mike said, "Oh, did that walker just pick up that knife?" And I'm like, no, because I thought what happened was they threw the leaves on it, by walking, the leaves went on the knife. But then when I started reading what's out there, I think it was in Talking Dead. Chris Hardwick said, did that walker pick up the knife? They didn't discuss it on the show that I recall, but they did bring it up. I'm like, oh my gosh, it really did pick up the knife. So yeah, that was pretty scary. And also, the intensity with our group being at the prison camp. And if these troopers, didn't change their mind, how are they going to get out of there? Because they can't, that Tyler guy that was in there with them, he wasn't going to change, even though they tried to get to him. And he's like, no. He wants to just, he just wants to keep living this prison life instead of, and Ezekiel tells him, we're as good as dead. We got to try, but he's like, no. So yes, I just saw an intensity in this episode. And of course, I was happy to see the turn of events with the troopers, which, Margaret, you had said for a couple of episodes now that you kept seeing the troopers dissatisfied with how life is at the Commonwealth. So yeah, I think that was good. So what stood out to you in this episode, Margaret?
I think I just felt bad for you. Yeah, I don't really like Eugene, but I felt bad for Eugene because he's this pawn and Pamela is so evil. So that part was really kind of, I don't know, that stood out to me. But then, because it really was a dire situation and he's going to get killed because of this. And it's like, but you guys you were the ones that created those monsters that ate the son in the first place, right? So it doesn't make sense. Eugene had really nothing to do with that. They did, because they're the ones that made them, right? Because they killed the people. And then they got into the crowd. And so, the walkers, they created the walkers who ended up killing the kid. Eugene didn't take a gun and blow him away. So I don't understand that connection. It doesn't make any sense. I think they just need a fall guy. So that's Eugene. And then I think I felt bad for Negan because, he was trying to do the right thing. And then it ended up flipping and everybody was in front of the firing squad. So I thought that was pretty extreme, and it wasn't the way, including his wife. And, I just thought it was, I don't know, it hit a point where, and then I felt Rosita, I thought really had a good character, as far as she had a lot of emotional stuff going on with her kid, not being able to find Coco, just wandering around, being told that she shouldn't be doing that, just being corrected all the time. And it just restrained when she really just wanted blood. And so it'll be interesting to see where all of these, we kind of peaked with the firing squad situation because those guys are dead. So now they got to reorganize. So it'll be interesting to see if the troopers end up collaborating with them to go and shift everything over in whatchamacallit? Alexandria, yeah, okay. Because that's still being controlled. But then you've got Mercer over in the Commonwealth doing whatever he's doing with Eugene, because he did give that, it's all fucked up now, or whatever he said. What did he say? He said the F word.
Yeah, he did. He said, we're gonna fuck shit up.
Yeah.
Fuck shit up. Okay.
I was like, thank God. I was relieved because I liked Eugene too. I didn't want to see him go yet.
I like Eugene too.
I don't like Eugene.
Love him.
I think he's a wimp. Anyway, so that's what, a lot of stuff stood out for me, but they had an awful lot going on,
Yeah.
So
what about you, Avery? What stood out to you?
I really liked Daryl in the sewers. How you see he kills two walkers and you can tell he's really nervous, or he's, kind of slowing down, and you see how like the vines have kind of grown into the walkers and he's knifing them down, but it's kind of just a tense situation. It was one of those quick, classic kind of, I don't know, just the roots of the show. Not to be like funny about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
So like we brought it back to the roots because like Daryl's indestructible and he's always doing finding these weird routes in to take people out, and he always shows up at the right point. I remember way back, there was some biker gang and he like used a grenade launcher and blew them all away. And I can't remember what season it was, but it was right before they all got to Terminus, right after everyone gets separated from the prison.
The Claimers, I think.
Yeah, yes. And they give him like the ass end of the rabbit.
Yeah.
So I always like that he's kind of always scheming like that.
Well, when he was in the sewer, I wondered if he would come across a walker that they remembered or, knew from Alexandria. I'm like, oh no, don't show somebody that was, died there. But so I was glad he didn't meet up with anybody he knew.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed that scene. That was just something, when I was watching it, I was like, it's quick and easy. And I was like, I'm going to bring this up just because it just seems kind of special to me,
Yeah.
I'm also a Daryl Dixon fan, obviously.
Yeah.
Who am I not a fan of at this point?
I know. That's me. See, Margaret? I'm not the only one. Margaret's all, you gush about everybody and everything. I'm like,
it's true.
I love these people. I love these
too.
characters.
It's like a family. You're just watching, like, oh, I lost touch with these guys. So, here we are again.
Exactly. Well, when I was looking at this episode, I was going into it, starting with Judith's commentary. That was the lens that I was looking at this through. So, she talks about how the world is dark and broken, but we aren't, not yet. And that her dad wanted mercy to prevail over wrath. And that if we lose, we'll lose everything. And in the visuals, while that commentary is happening, we see Negan. It's with Glenn and Abraham.
Oh, yeah.
And then we see him with Lucille, his wife.
Yep.
And we also, I think we saw him with, I'm trying to remember who else we saw him with. But to me, it was sort of, we were seeing Negan's evolution. And we were seeing his change and how his priorities have changed to now and how he has evolved. Because now, instead of living for himself, he's living for Annie and his baby. That's the most important thing for him. So it's totally shifted, how he's moving forward with all his decisions. And when he and Ezekiel had those words in that forest and he told him he didn't deserve to be a dad, as much as I appreciated Ezekiel's words last episode, because I was cheering Ezekiel for saying everything that I wanted him to say to Negan. I wanted Negan to recognize the extent of, the damage that he caused all of our people, even though I like him now. But I wanted him to know that feeling. And so it's not just Maggie, right? It's not just Maggie telling him all this. It's another person too. So I really appreciated that. But this time I felt bad when he said that to him. I'm like, oh man, he doesn't deserve to be a dad. I just thought it was interesting. I thought it was something that Negan needed to face. And, they led us to believe that he was going to turn Ezekiel in. Because they kind of set it up that way.
Yeah, yep. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's classic.
And he didn't. In the end, he didn't. He was going to take the fall. So that just goes to show how much Negan has grown and evolved. So I really appreciated all of that. And when Ezekiel does go in front with his hands, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he could really get shot by anybody here. In front of the group, he says the same words that Judith said at the beginning, that we're not all broken. Oh, we don't all have to be broken. Something like that. It was basically the same words that she said. So I thought it was just really cool to wrap it up like that.
Yeah, that was like such like a coming together moment where I think at that moment we've realized maybe Negan and Ezekiel have squashed the beef after, a decade of being not kind to each other,
Yeah.
So I thought that was like a very powerful moment in the series in general, because you even hear Negan say to the warden, he goes, none of those people back there like me. They all hate me, or whatever he says.
Yeah.
It's
true, but I thought he was just saying it so he wouldn't think that he had any leads on who the traitor was.
It's like a double-edged, I think he was telling the truth, but also trying to lead the warden away.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Okay. Did you have any other thoughts or tidbits on this episode, Margaret?
I thought there was just too many things that were not finished. So they opened up an awful lot of different situations and relationships and where are we going to go. And we learned some things about logistics is my word tonight. But the ocean side no longer exists, which I thought was kind of interesting. And those people got out. And then just everybody not everybody got together, but the groups are beginning to get back together again. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do. And again, I still think that those troopers are going to end up manning or banding with the people who are at the camp and continue on because everybody's supposed to meet up. They want to take their home back. So everybody's going to meet up there. And then where's Coco? What happened to her? And then I think that just people really, the bad people figuring out that they're being bad people and now they're shifting their whole ideal. So who's going to kill Pamela is the big question because she's going to go down. And how is she going to go down?
I want to see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, because she's got this whole upright, they should just hang her or something. I mean, like Handmaid's Tale. Just hang her, put her on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
And see what happens.
Yeah.
Let her get, pieced out with the walkers. I'll take a tow, that kind of thing. So,
yeah.
But I don't know. So Avery, you were amazed with the whole Daryl thing. Do you like Carol?
I like Carol. She looks great still. She's been on the show for 12 years. She looks exactly the same. It's unreal. I mean, her hair is longer, obviously. I like Carol. Yeah, I think she's bad as hell. Literally.
She is.
She's a tough
She is.
one. She's tough.
Yeah?
Yeah.
She's put down kids before. Like, she's scary. You run into her in the apocalypse, you better, mind your P's and Q's. Seriously.
Yeah.
I agree.
I always wanted her and Daryl,
Yeah.
I wanted it so bad.
But there's such a huge age difference.
There's not that big, and who cares, Margaret?
The apocalypse.
I don't know.
I don't think there's that much of an age difference.
Maybe not. I mean, it seemed Daryl's gotten a little rough looking. I mean, as he's gotten older, and she's still well preserved. But I think they probably are close in age. But I'm wondering, she really didn't have as big a role in this episode. I mean, between the two of them, Daryl and Carol. I mean, Daryl had the maybe because Carol had the upper hand in the episode last week, so then they flipped it over to Daryl, for who had more to do.
But what about her and Maggie? They did have that.
Yeah. But she didn't do anything strategically. She didn't do anything, she spoke, but she didn't even come to mind when I'm thinking about this episode. Daryl, yes, because he killed that guy. He killed the walkers. I mean, they were featuring his stuff more so than the two of them together. So I don't know. It's just interesting how they're shifting the focus on the characters. So they are giving them their time in the spotlight.
Yeah.
In each episode. So it's just kind of, I don't know. I think she could have had a little more, Maggie, I don't like Maggie either.
She's annoying. I don't like Maggie either. She's annoying.
I don't know.
She's a baby.
Who does Margaret like? That's what I want to know. I do want Avery, just so you know, she has converted a little bit though.
I have. Well, with Carol. Yeah. Carol was really good last week. That's why I was like, what happened to Carol this week?
Well, you were impressed with Maggie too. So both of them.
Fleeting.
And you don't like Eugene. You don't like. I want to know who you like.
I don't like. No, I don't like Eugene. I've never liked Eugene. He's just a squirrely little guy. He'll say what he's got to say to preserve himself.
That's survival. He survives in a different way. He doesn't kill none of of course now he does, but in the beginning.
He does have
so soft.
I think he might though. For Max, I think in the previews I saw him with a gun or something and he looked like he was ready to do something. Yeah.
Oh wow. Well,
so we might
grow up hair.
We might see something good,
Yeah, do it for Abraham,
He'll close his eyes as he's doing it, though,
That's okay. That's okay.
Oh, man.
All right, Avery, what about you? Do you have any other observations, any thoughts, tidbits?
I mean, I liked going off the Carol thing, I did like seeing them in the house and Maggie gets spotted by the trooper and they like double team him, knock him out, and then like tie him up and put him in the what is it, like a washroom or something, a little kitchen. I thought that's always kind of cool. I love the sneaking elements that The Walking Dead always sneaks in, because I think like the world is so quiet because you have to be, or else you'll draw the attention of people, walkers, whatever, you know. So I always like seeing the sneaking, and I don't know how our crew, the survivors, like sneak around and, you know, they found baby Herschel, which is great.
I know, but that was too easy.
It was,
right?
And that's why I'm kind of thinking, like, does Pamela now have Coco? Like, is that what's going to happen? Just to make it more like, oh, we gotta kill her, you know? Or something. I'm thinking that's how it's going to go. It's like bait.
I think, Margaret, you had said you didn't think the kids left the Commonwealth. And I think you're right. The only reason Herschel is here is because Herschel was with Maggie. So they didn't pick them up when they picked up the first, with the first group.
Gotcha.
They didn't pick him up until they were on the road where they must have, you know, kidnapped Maggie, and that's when they took him away. Well, they were probably closer to Alexandria, so that's why he's there alone. Because I wondered it too. I'm like, how did he get separated from the kids? I'm like, oh yeah, he was with Maggie this time, so that's probably why he was there. But what I want to know, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Avery, and your thoughts and tidbits, but I do want to know, what was he doing tied up? Was he yelling? It was hard to hear.
I know.
What was happening.
Like, I thought it could have been, I thought it was like, honestly, like a full grown woman, and like, that's what it sounded like to me. And like, someone was like hurting her or like, you know, hitting her or something. And then Maggie's like, oh my God, jump to action, you know? And then it's baby Herschel. And I'm like, what? It was very confusing. Yeah, well, you know,
Herschel.
Yeah, I don't, you know, because Herschel's Herschel with his one leg, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you. And he was just sitting there like in an electric chair, screaming. Why would he scream? How did he know anything was going on?
Wouldn't the trooper be like, shut up, kid?
In the room,
yeah.
right? Mac. I know.
Yeah.
I know. I don't know.
I know. I thought, what is that trooper doing to the kid that the kid's yelling? That's what would made me worried. Like, why was he yelling?
Yeah.
What was he doing?
How did he know to yell at that particular time?
Exactly.
Well, I thought he was yelling because the trooper was doing something to him. That was my initial thought, not just because, he didn't know anybody else was there.
Yeah.
He looked fine. There's nothing wrong with him.
Untouched. He's good.
Yeah.
His hair was perfect.
Do you think that they took him, I mean, aside from them not being part of the group of the kids, do you think that they might have taken him there so they could flush out Maggie too, because she's such a strong leader of the group and they didn't have her really? So maybe they wanted to separate them. I don't know. Yeah. That just popped into my head. I don't know.
Good thought.
How did they know they were in that building, by the way? Was that like they come up and boom, they're there. I mean, how did they know?
I don't think they knew they were in that building. I think that.
And how'd they get so lucky?
Carol said she was going there, that particular place, but I'm not sure exactly what their reasoning was to going to that particular place.
Is it the headquarters? Is that established in another episode or something?
It could be.
Like the police station, you know?
Yeah.
Because the police station is the bottom where the little jail cell is.
Oh, right. But
so probably is. You're right.
Yeah, but why would they assume that that's where everybody might be? Because that's really all they're going for, right? Is the kids. They're trying to find the kids. They're not trying to like kill the trooper people.
No, but that makes sense now that you said that, because that is where the cell is at. Is in that. I believe it's in that
I guess it's a good
location.
Start.
Right.
Good start, right? You would think if you're holding hostages, you're putting them in, you know, you're locking them.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
Avery, did you have any more?
I was kind of confused too how Rosita is like around looking for Coco and then just like shows up and it's like, where you been? Like she just pops up randomly at one point. I can't remember where she was, but it's like, hey, what's up? Like, where you been this whole time? She's like, oh, I was looking for Coco, didn't find her.
Yeah, I like that character. I like her character.
You do like her. You do like Rosita.
I said that before.
Yeah.
Because she's a tough chick.
Yeah.
So I don't like Princess. She's a tough chick too, but I don't like
I thought
how
you liked
they've
her.
handled. She was, the first time I saw her, she was okay. No, but they've just kind of like, they've given her more, they've tried to develop her, and it's just so extreme. All of her issues, all of her history. You're like, okay, so?
Well, Avery can speak to that. Do you know about Princess's history at all?
Oh,
Is
in the book, right?
But maybe that is her character, and is it mentioned in the book? So that's why it's in the show.
Yes.
Yeah. See?
Huh. All right.
All right. I'm sorry. Do you have any more thoughts or tidbits on the episode, Avery?
No, we covered it.
What about Mercer? You didn't talk about Mercer at all.
I mean, I was like thankful that he finally like manned up and like did the right thing. Did I think Eugene was gonna die when they're walking him down these hallways and he's got a hood over his head? I was like, nah, this can't be right.
Right.
It's taking too long. They're just gonna drag him outside and do it.
No, they're gonna make a display out of it.
Exactly. They're gonna bring him to like the center of the town and whatever,
Yep.
Shoot him. I don't know. Let the walkers eat him. I don't know.
I'm thinking they would have shot him because they would have wanted other people to see that he died. I would think.
Make an example. This was like a high profile case,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man, that courtroom was a sham, a kangaroo court.
Yeah, but it was so hard to figure out what the audience or, the people watching, what they were thinking, because it was just mutter, mutter, mutter. Oh, you didn't really hear them say specifically anything. So you really didn't know. I didn't know which way they were going, if they were siding with Pamela or if they were siding with Yumiko when Eugene got up and gave his little speech at the end, I did like that.
Yeah.
Me too. That I almost started crying. Yeah. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good. That was
a Rick Grimes moment.
Do you think that's what shifted Mercer?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was going to let him die before that speech. Are you kidding me? He was like, I don't care. See you later, dude.
I think he was just waiting for the right moment to shift it so that he could do it without any opposition.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
It makes sense that Mercer would kind of play the cards the way he did by being sort of secretive about it, because now he can have more, discretion from Pamela, even though, she's definitely going to catch on very, very quickly to exactly what's going on. But I do think he played his cards right, because now he can maybe influence other people in secrecy, and then she'll never see it coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, that people were able to see her on the stand, and also that lottery.
Yeah.
Even though she did say that the video was tampered with, I'm hoping that the people, understood that it really wasn't, because Eugene does acknowledge that the people outside are cheering for him or wanting him out, because he says something to Yumiko. Do you hear them? Do you hear them? We've won, or, the people we've won. And she said, well, I don't think that's enough, because, how are the people going to go up against the Commonwealth?
Right. It's like a military state. It really is.
Yeah.
So, I thought it was, I seriously don't think any of them would have had a chance unless those troopers changed their minds back at Alexandria. So that's something that did stand out to me. I did want to bring up on The Talking Dead that Kari Payton, who plays Ezekiel, acknowledged that Melissa McBride is like an acting teacher on the show without trying to be one.
Wow. I'm just saying, wow, that figures, because everybody raves that she's so good.
Yeah. So he said that, and also, Josh McDermott was on the show too, and they both chimed in and brought up different instances where she will just say something to them. And then they're taken aback and they thought, oh my gosh, I haven't done my homework. I have to rethink this. She just gave us another level for us to go and react to. And they say she's just so flawless in how she does that. And she's just a really good, actor to act with. And so I loved hearing that. And I was thinking, Margaret, because last week you had really appreciated her, her character last week. And I wanted to share that out with you and everyone else so that they could know that. And I'm like, oh man, it kind of pained me because I thought, oh, she's not going to be in the spinoff with Daryl. So this might be one of the last times that we see her is in this, as this role. So, and then
I doubt it. I bet she comes back somehow.
I think she might drop in, but she's not going to be in the whole series. Yeah. Oh, I did want to bring up Rosita because I was slightly surprised of what she did at the end because of the whole sentiment of the episode about mercy prevailing. And with her, she's like, heck no, I want my baby. You're not giving me my baby. Here you go. So I was like, oh, and then everybody's like looking at her. And I was wondering what Father Gabriel was thinking. And
what a weird couple, first off.
I know, right?
He is so creepy, but I like him. Like he's badass. He used to be
I did not like him at all. I didn't like him. Now he's one character I didn't like for a long while. And it isn't until the last maybe 2 seasons that he's he's in a better light for me, but
he's got that eye just well that mercy thing, my mercy will prevail over my wrath or whatever. Rick Grimes says that in the beginning episode before he slits Negan's throat and then saves him.
Yeah.
I believe, or it's in that
it is.
all-out war type thing. Yeah. Yep. So I thought that was cool, the drawback to that, too, because we're in a very, very similar situation.
Right. We are. All righty. We're at our segment, and the award goes to. So I want to know from both of you, what was your favorite quote, character, or moment?
Oh, Daryl killing that guy. The leader. For me. Done. Did he get him through the head?
No.
I think he stabbed him.
Yeah, because he was on the ground, so I don't think he did get him in the head.
Right, so he's going to be a walker.
Yeah.
See, they keep leaving all their littering with all these people who become walkers because they don't kill them. So they're giving them the opportunity to come back, Like
not
that
a good
kid.
thing.
No, not a good thing. But that was it for me. I mean, you just were waiting, because everybody's getting piled up there. Okay, the guys are getting ready to kill everybody, and then boom. And I really thought one of the trooper guys was that one trooper on the end. I thought he was going to kill him.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he probably would have. But if he had, then everybody else might have killed him, and then killed everybody else. So it's good that it came from a third party. So that was kind of the highlight for me.
Yeah, and then he grabs Kelly. Jerk.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Yeah.
But then Daryl did save the day, and now Connie's all, swoon, you saved my sister.
Yep.
What about you, Avery? What was your favorite quote, character, or moment?
I liked the exchange. I liked the camera angle when Ezekiel and Negan are on the railroad tracks and they're like shoveling dirt or just debris off of it. And they're having that really tense exchange about how Ezekiel isn't quite so forgiving of Negan yet. They're not friends. He doesn't deserve to be the father, et cetera, et cetera. And I like how the camera was just facing the two and you see the sun coming through the trees and it kind of just looks like one of those really cold days, but there's no snow on the ground or whatever. But I like how Negan storms off after he kind of stands his ground, and then Ezekiel, being a baby, like slams the shovel in the box. I just think like those type of like off moments, very realistic. Like your supervisor's pissing you off and you throw the papers at the desk or whatever. I liked that. Yeah. I liked that moment a lot.
That's funny.
I love that. Okay, so my favorite moment, or character, I should say, was Mercer. He was so cool. And I feel like we've been waiting for this moment. And I just thought when he said that, his tone, time to fuck shit up. It was so cool.
Yeah.
The delivery was perfect. And it's just, they finally got through to him, and I loved it. And I do think it was Eugene, what he said, because he talked about inaction and how inaction made him culpable when he was with Negan. And so and I just love that whole story. I thought it was a really good moment, like you had mentioned, Avery, earlier. And so, I just thought it was a really good moment for Eugene to say that, and for Mercer to get it, because he says it just takes one person to make a change. And so I just thought it was emotional and reflective of the journey. So I really liked it.
Yeah, there's a lot of tiebacks to a lot of really stressful situations this group has been through in this episode alone. I'm sure if I watched it again, there'd be even more stuff I'd uncover,
Yeah. So I want to know, which character from a previous season would you have liked to have seen in this episode? Margaret, let's start with you.
So I think Rick would have been a good character to have in this episode. Come in and save the day, or just reorganize the group, or just give us 2 cents. Just because he was such a strong presence and somebody that everybody really looked up to and, trusted. So, and I haven't said Rick. So.
Exactly. I'm saving mine. I'm saving my Rick.
Oh.
But I love that, Margaret. I love it. But you had asked me earlier, and Avery and I were just talking about it before we recorded, about Rick coming back. And I was telling him that the movies are not happening, but that there's that spinoff of 6 episodes with him and Michonne. And that's for sure. It's happening. Instead of the movies, there's the 6 episodes. I don't know if it'll go on beyond that. But the question is, will he be in the end of The Walking Dead? And my personal thought is that I would love for him to be on it. I mean, that everybody wants that. But do I think he's going to be on it? I don't think so. And if he is, I feel like he won't be with the whole group. It'll be like an inkling to make the spinoffs work. Like, oh, we have evidence that he's still alive somehow. That's right. How I think, if they do show him, or if he comes to the episode, the show, that's how I think it'll happen. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think Rick will show up?
I do.
Okay.
I think it'll be in that way, though. It'll be just like a little, he's at wherever location he's at. That's where they'll show, not interacting with the group at all, but it'll be what he's doing, foreshadowing.
Yes.
That he's gonna go do this thing, or there will be some small little. Well, what does the book do? Does the book?
Well, he's dead. He dies.
He dies in the very last episode. He's shot by
Sebastian, right? Sebastian.
Yes, yep. And it's honestly, like, I'm gonna just state this, and like, you can crucify me later, but I was very disappointed with it, because Rick had been through so much. In the books, he loses one of his hands, takes down Negan, the governor, all of these people, the Whisperers, Reapers, all these people. And then he's just shot in his sleep. Like, what's the point?
Oh, in the books, you mean you were disappointed?
In the book.
Because
in the book.
I am so happy they didn't do that, because I would have been disappointed too. It was like, what? You can't kill the hero.
A lot of people. I remember when that final issue came out, a lot of people were like, or the second to last issue came out, a lot of people were like, what is going on with this book? It was a pretty, I don't know, it kind of, in my eyes, like, condemned. He had to end it after that. So he did.
Yeah.
And then it ends with, a flash in the future. Society is much different now, and it's told through Carl's perspective, which is cool that they're doing Judith's perspective now, too, since Carl is, deceased in the show.
Yeah, they just traded them then, right? They traded Carl for Rick.
Because Judith dies at the prison in the book.
Oh, when in birth, or
with Lori? No.
Oh my
God. The walkers get him.
Oh,
When the prison gets overrun, they don't survive.
Wow. Huh.
So that one of my favorite episodes I mentioned earlier was Too Far Gone, and when they see, you know how everybody's scattering all over the place is blown up, and Herschel's been killed and all of that, and we see the little seat carrier, and there's blood all over it, and that's when Carl and Rick think that the baby Judith is dead and gone, but of course Tyrese ends up having her. So, but I'm wondering if people really thought, oh, the baby could be dead because that's how it is in the comic book. See, I had no idea. I didn't know that.
Well, they alluded to it, in that, I think, and also that's really risky, I think, just to show on TV.
I know.
you know, it's really kind of risky.
Yeah.
But also, you mentioned Tyrese. He, in the books, before Negan hops on the scene, because Tyrese dies in the book, if I remember correctly. He dies, at the prison or shortly after. I can't remember properly, but him and Rick are running the entire prison group, and there's friction the whole time. They do not like each other the entire time. So it's a very cool contrast because they're both heroes in our eyes, but they do not get along. So a lot of people, I remember when these were coming out, they'd take a stance, oh, I'm with Tyrese, or I'm with Rick Grimes, where I liked Ty because even in the comic, he had that giant hammer, and he was just crushing walkers. He was a tough, scary guy.
Well, he didn't really play that in the series. He
didn't.
Yeah.
He was kind of he was just agreed with Rick the whole time. Yep.
Yeah.
Whatever you need, or there's a little friction in the actual show, because I remember he was with the governor for a little while in the show, wasn't he?
He was.
And then he kind of came around and figured out he wanted to be in the prison group, I guess. They
didn't know where they want. What happened was they went to the prison, and Rick and company said, no, because they had been burned, and they're like, we don't need any more people. So then they end up going to the governor and being absorbed there. But then when they see the governor's true colors, they're like, heck, we don't like them either. Yeah. And so then they get together with, Rick and the others. So, oh man, those are good episodes. I love those episodes.
That was a phenomenal season. That put The Walking Dead on the map. Put them on the map.
Yeah. Okay, so Avery, what about you? Which character from a previous season would you have liked to have seen in this episode?
Obviously Abraham, just so he could see how far Eugene's come. Because Abraham was like Eugene's personal bodyguard because he got duped for so long.
Because he's a jerk.
And they started to kind of, once all that came to light, they started to, rekindle the friendship, I think, but it was always different. And I think seeing Abraham being there now probably would be very proud of Eugene, and also I think would be very proud of Negan for kind of stepping up to the plate in these two, in this episode.
Yeah. That's a good pick. Okay, so for me, I had a hard time because I've mentioned a lot of people throughout the episodes, and I'm thinking, okay, who do I have left? Because like I said, I've mentioned a lot.
Why can't you duplicate? You could duplicate.
I could, but the people that I hadn't mentioned was Andrea. And I thought, well, if I picked Andrea, she would be a good mediator. And then I thought I hadn't picked Lori. And I thought, well, she would be in mom mode now, and she'd be so much
horrible.
But she'd be so much more developed by now, and she'd be hopefully more kick-ass. And then I thought about Dwight, who has gone on to Fear the Walking Dead, but I thought about him because he's a good infiltrator.
Yep, he's incredible.
Yeah, so I thought, any of these could have worked. But I also, and I already mentioned him earlier, I also thought the governor would have made a good the warden. For some reason, if he had lived and then he had came back and then all of a sudden we see him and we're like, oh my God. So I thought the governor would have been really good as the warden. And I would have liked to seen him because then he would have been killed twice. Or I guess he wouldn't have been killed the first time. But so I thought it would have been good to see him because he was a good bad guy. On to our last question on The Walking Dead. What do you hope to see in the next episode? And do you have any predictions?
I want to see Negan and Maggie squash the beef they gotta come together, because for as much as I think Maggie's a weenie, she's a strong player in the game, and if she had Negan as backup or vice versa, if they worked together, that'd be kind of a pretty powerful force calling the shots. Because Negan's got a lot of experience leading, and so does Maggie.
Yeah.
Because she was at the hilltop for so long.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see that.
Yeah. Well, you will be seeing it in the spinoff. All right, Margaret, what about you? What do you hope to see in the next episode? Or do you have any predictions?
I don't know. I mean, because to me, they left a lot of stuff undone in this last episode, even though they did, but they didn't. They brought a lot of things out to light, and it would just be interesting to see how they resolve some of the stuff that they brought up. I mean, obviously Pamela's going to get killed. We know that, or, taken out. And I don't want to see Daryl, Daryl and Carol were supposed to do that spinoff. I don't want to see it be Daryl and Connie, because I don't see them, as a couple. But maybe that's what they're going to end up doing. They just haven't told anybody that. It would be nice to see them get back to some normalcy, but there's just so much chaos. You can't have anything be normal. So there's always going to be another group coming or another thing shifting, unless the atomic bomb blows up like it did in Fear, and takes out. So I don't know.
I can't wait to see Mercer now that, what happens now that he's flipped the script, and who is Pamela going to rely on? And are the troopers going to follow Mercer, who they followed, or are they going to follow Pamela, or is it going to be split? And where's the split? What's the percentage? So that's what I'm looking forward to. And then I thought, oh, wouldn't it be cool if the walker that picked up the knife is the one that comes and kills Pamela with it? I mean, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
That would be good.
So I'm like,
think about it. All the people over at,
Alexandria.
All those guys don't really know what's going on over at Commonwealth.
No.
So they're separated. So there might be a whole different thought process going on with them to defend and fight and all this other stuff.
Right.
But they do radio. But I don't know. I mean, I think that's, the separation. And then who's it's? Huckabee or...
Oh, Hornsby?
Hornsby. Well, I'm just, Anyway, no, he's gone. So he doesn't really have any input either, because he was sort of their director as well.
Right.
But do they know he's dead? Do they know that over there?
I don't know. Well, maybe they'll find his walking body somewhere. Remember, he'll have an arrow through his neck.
Oh, yeah.
But I still think that Mercer could be the new leader eventually. I just still think that it's a possibility. So we'll see. I mean, after Pamela's gone and this wraps up, I can kind of see Mercer as leading. But I also want to say, where is Dog? We've been talking about Dog. They mentioned Dog, but where the heck is he?
Dog, yeah.
And again, we may not see him till the end. So, all right. I just wanted to quickly ask Avery what he thinks, since he has read the comic books. Just give us a quick comparison about what you think about the comic books and the TV show.
So I liked the comic books more than the show through the Whisperers up until the Commonwealth, where now I'm watching the Commonwealth kind of debacle go on. And I think the show's portraying it really, really well, where the comic books, it was kind of, in my eyes, I don't know, low-hanging fruit or sort of stale, because I had seen the Savior, the All-Out War, that was incredible in the books because, I don't know, it was just done really well. And you had Dwight, and he still betrayed Negan and all this, and the same things happen. And then the Whisperer War was kind of lackluster in the books, but it was still cool because I just watched this group, take out the Saviors. They were the baddest thing going for a long time. And then they immediately, now we're in the Commonwealth and you're starting to see society sort of start to pick up. And in the books that was shown, but I think seeing it, I don't know, live now, they're just doing it better. And that's probably a hot take for a lot of people. I like season 11 with the Commonwealth and the prison camps and Negan becoming one of the good guys and things like that.
Yeah.
I like seeing that live right now.
Cool. I love that. Well, thank you for that perspective, because Yeah, I haven't read the comic books, so.
I also, hot take too, I'm glad Rick Grimes isn't in it right now. Do I want him to make an appearance? Yes.
Yeah.
Do I think he left at a great time? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was getting kind of sick of Farmer Rick. Getting sick of that.
Well, for me, the biggest anticipation is to see Rick and Michonne. Like, I just cannot wait. That is what I really want to see Rick, and I really want to see, where he's been, and I just really want to see him. And I'm going to mention him in a few minutes, but I want to say this is wrapping up this conversation on The Walking Dead. We can't wait for the next episode. There's only 2 left. It's going to be so exciting. I cannot wait. All right. So I would like to know what else you are currently watching. So Margaret, do you want to go first?
Oh, so TV, Law and Order revamped or rebooted or whatever. So it's the same, the same thing that it was before. Well, I forget his name. There was only really one character that carried over. Now he's in charge. He's no longer an attorney. I think or was he? I don't know. Anyway, I just like that show. I keep forgetting that it's on, and then I turn it on. It's on NBC on Thursday night, but I really do, when I catch it, I love it. The other thing I really, really I started watching that Abbott Elementary back first season. I loved it then. It's still funny. The characters are still so just raunchy and shocking, and just what they say and how their perspective. And I just think it's a really funny show, and it really cleaned up at the Emmys too. And Quinta Brunson, she's the one that created it. She wrote it. Now she's like mid-20s. I mean,
well, good for her.
I know, but all the other characters on there, I mean, some are like Broadway people. I really liked it, or really like it, and I catch it. I don't watch it when it's on. I watch it, after the fact. So as far as movies go, I'm a red box person. So because I don't have HBO, Diana, so I don't get to see a lot of this stuff on HBO. So I went to Redbox, and beginning of the month, they usually release a lot of things. So I read a book on the plane going home, which is called Where the Crawdads Sing. And it's a Reese Witherspoon read it and loved it. It's about the South in North Carolina, actually, is where it's based. And it's about a girl, and she's called the Swamp Girl because she and her family live out in the swamps. And she doesn't go to school. People mock her. She doesn't have shoes. She's poor. Daddy beats everybody up. Mommy finally leaves. Then he starts hitting all the kids. So then they leave one by one, and then it's just her. And then finally he just leaves and never comes home. And the book was so well done. And then the movie just started out with the courtroom scene because there is a murder, and they're blaming her because, she's the likely suspect because she's this piece of garbage. But she really isn't. She develops a relationship with one of the neighbor boys who's a marine naturalist kind of guy, goes to school for it, college, whatever. So you follow her all the way through her life. So it's a really interesting, the book is really good. The movie is, it's okay. But it has that Daisy, you know who she is.
I do.
Daisy Edgar Jones. Yeah. And,
she was in Normal
really
People.
Good. Yeah, she's done a lot of stuff, actually.
Yeah.
And she's the main character. She's good. But I just wish it had delved a little bit more into her development, because it just kind of glossed over a lot of things. And it's a really deep, book. And then the other movie I decided to get, which we talked about last week, was Top Gun. So I saw Top Gun. Finally. I know. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. So, and I'm not really a Tom Cruise fan, but he has his moments. But
yeah.
I just thought it was really good. And I didn't fall asleep. So that's a good thing.
I love it. No wonder you were keeping it a secret from me. I'm like, what is she? I should have known. But I did want to say, I too read the book Where the Crawdads Sing, and I cannot wait to watch the movie. Yeah. And I don't read too much. I think I'll still like it. But I'm so glad you watched Top Gun. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Avery, what about you? Do you have any TV show or movie recommendations?
So I have been rewatching through the Halloween season, American Horror Story. obviously, because I went to every local haunted house and hayride in my town, so I was like looking for the ultimate horror. I like the first season, Murder House. I like Asylum. I rewatched Roanoke. Roanoke's incredible. That's a hot take because a lot of people really didn't like it. And then they've started the new season, New York City, which I haven't started yet, but I plan on doing it. Now we're like 5 episodes in, so I'll kill a weekend watching it. As far as movies go, I am like the type of guy that goes to Walmart or whatever and goes through the bargain bin of all the straight to DVD, horribly done, cheesy stuff. So instead of like the the Amityville Horror, I have the Amityville Scarecrow. So like that is, as far as movies go, that's where I really, blossom with my taste. So I haven't had much time to sit down and watch a movie, which is disappointing. I think I watched a documentary on the guy in Gransby. Oh man, I don't even know. He was a mechanic and the town was kind of shady. Told him he had to hook up his sewer. It was going to cost him like $100,000. It bankrupted him. So he went out of business, but he bought a bulldozer and he welded all this metal to it. And he bought a bunch of rifles and welded himself inside of the bulldozer and drove around the town destroying all the like political buildings, the newspaper station, the town hall, the cement factory that like bought part of his property. It was a crazy documentary.
Wow.
It's called like the Killdozer or something. It's an hour and a half. It was released in 2019. No, it's called Tread. It's called Tread.
Wow. Okay.
And that was really, really interesting to watch because it happened in, I believe, 2006, and I never even heard about it.
Wow. What state?
Very interesting. I can't remember the state. Colorado, I believe. Gransby.
Tread?
Yeah.
Tread.
It was crazy. You get a lot of perspectives that are very unique.
Wow.
Oh, I bet.
On the situation. Yeah. So that was, I actually watched that, I think, last Saturday or Sunday. So that was the last movie I've watched.
Oh.
And it's on YouTube for free.
2020. It's out in 2020.
2020. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched American Horror Story in a while, but the ones that you were mentioning, I had seen the earlier seasons and like those. So, but they do get pretty graphic. And sometimes I'm not sure about them. I'm like, oh, can I keep going? But I do like really liked the first one a lot. And then, did you mention Asylum? Was that the one? Was that the second one? Yeah.
It's aliens.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe some science experiment type stuff. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't seen it. But it does get kind of rough. So just brace yourself.
Right. Yeah.
To anyone who's listening.
All right. Well, for me, I haven't started too many new TV shows because I have a lot of ongoing shows that I'm continuing, but I did start From Scratch, which is on Netflix. It's a limited series about an American woman played by Zoe Saldana. Falls for Lino, a chef while studying abroad in Italy. It is based on a best-selling memoir by Tembi Locke. And it is one of the top Netflix shows right now. It is a love story and it is a tear-jerker from what I gather, because I've only seen maybe like 2 episodes, but
right up your alley.
It is up my alley. It is. I haven't gotten that far, so I'll let you know when I do. But the first 2 episodes, I think it moves along quickly through the lives of this couple. So I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes. Margaret had recommended Mosquito Coast season 2, that it had started last week. And I had mentioned I knew what my Friday night was going to be like because I was going to watch the first episode. So I did. And the second episode is upon us. So I'm going to watch that.
Is it better? Oh,
I don't know. I haven't watched it yet. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to watching episode 2.
So have you watched that Selling Beverly Hills yet?
No.
Oh.
The one with Mauricio?
I don't know, some Mexican guy.
Mauricio, that's the Real Housewives.
$1 billion guy.
It's the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, her husband. So it's Kyle Richards' husband.
Okay, well, I don't watch Real Housewives.
So I know him because he's on the show, on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. But I have not seen it. I have not seen it yet.
I only watched one up. Well, I think I fell asleep, but I was watching the first episode, and it was actually kind of interesting. That's all.
Oh. Well, I wanted to share with you also that I had told everyone that I was watching Cabinet of Curiosities on Netflix. It's that Guillermo del Toro,
thing. Yeah.
Well, I watched the first one, and it's an anthology series, so you don't have to go in order. Well, I wanted to watch the one Andrew Lincoln was in, Rick Grimes. I'm like, I have to see this one. I have to see it. So it's the last one. It's number 8. So I watched it, and it was interesting, but I didn't like seeing Andrew Lincoln other than Rick Grimes. I'm like, what? You're a husband? You're kind of lax. He's very different. He's clean shaven. I'm like, no, I want my rugged Rick Grimes. So it was kind of hard to see him. I'm like, I like you as that character. It's not, his acting job was fine, but just as an actor, it's like, no, I love you as Rick Grimes. So I just thought I'd throw that out there that I did watch that. But I went to the theaters and I saw Black Adam. This is a DC superhero movie with Dwayne Johnson. He was really good, actually. And I don't know much about the character, and I didn't know the story going into this, but I was really intrigued and I was entertained and I liked it. I mean, I would recommend it. I would say, give it a shot. It's basically 5,000 years ago, Adam was bestowed these ancient powers, and then he goes destructive because his son is killed. And so they bury him in this tomb, and he's been there all this time, but he is released by these archaeologists. And of course, a bunch of action happens during this. At the same time, because he has this dark side, you have these other set of superheroes who are trying to get him to take him back. But then they soon realize that they need his help. So that is the basics of that movie. And I can say I did like it. I thought it was pretty good. I also watched Backlight on Prime Video with Liam Neeson. And I have to say, I can't remember much about it. I watched it. I felt like Margaret. At this moment. No. I did not fall asleep.
There's only so much space.
I did not fall asleep, but it was typical of his movies, but it didn't even measure up. So I can't even recall that much what it is. It's basically, he's wronged somehow and he has to go make it right. And that's what he does.
Do you remember Gene Hackman?
Yeah.
He was doing movies like 3-4 a year. Same deal.
Yeah.
Just pulling in the money, making the same thing.
That's basically how this movie was. But I like Liam Neeson, so I'm going to keep giving it a shot. So I'm like, I like him. So he's a great actor. So just hopefully they give him a better script next time. That's what I have to say about that. All right. Avery, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate all your insight and your thoughts.
Oh, thank you.
Bringing the comic books more into this conversation. So thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thanks for the invite. It was awesome. It's been great. I have no one else to talk to about this, so here we are.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome. You're welcome to join us in the future one. So that's up to you.
Thank you.
I hope you will.
Thank you. Yeah.
I know you brought a lot of really interesting insight, actually.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you both for spending your Friday night with me. Thank you so much.
Friday, Veterans Day.
All right. Yes, it is Veterans Day. Thank you to all our service people out there.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that, Margaret. Thank you. That is something we should be thankful.
Brother, Zach.
Yeah.
That's right.
Cool. All right. That's our show. Thanks for tuning in. We are grateful you tuned in, and we hope something that we said today resonated with you, gave you a chuckle, some happiness, some positivity, or inspiration. Please subscribe to our website and follow Screens in Focus and tell a friend. We would love more members of our TV club. Wherever you listen, if you can rate and review, that would be awesome. We'll be releasing a new episode next week. Next show will be on The Walking Dead, Season 11, Episode 23. Whew, man, you can find our website listed in our show notes. We'll see you next time. Bye.